Good Sunday evening, everyone. This is Ken Moore. Welcome to another edition of the Danger Zone. Coming up, a big show for you tonight as we look at the quarterbacks in the AFC South, who will be number one in the 2024 season. Also, a huge game in the WNBA today. Once again, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. We'll let you know how that turned out. The Lakers get a new coach this week, and the great Willie Mays passes away earlier this week as well. All that and more coming up next on the Danger Zone.
You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to the Danger Zone. I am your host, Ken Moore. I will be joined shortly by my partner, Floyd B. Tonight, we will break down each of the starting quarterbacks in the AFC South, see what the ceiling is for each guy, see what the floor is for each guy. We will tackle all of that, plus the week and the day in the WNBA. We'll also take a look at a little Major League Baseball as well. But first and foremost, the housekeeping duties for you guys. If you are new to the show, we definitely want to invite you guys to be a permanent fixture in the show. You can do that by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification bell, and sharing the show out. Also, we want you guys to participate in the show. We want to get you guys comments. We want to get you guys feedback. We want to definitely get you guys heavily involved in the show. And last and most importantly, please hit that like button. That helps us to be able to bring you more excellent content. So without further ado, I will bring my partner in, Floyd B. Happy Sunday, sir. How is everything going in your world?
Bless, young man, bless. Happy to be here. Blessed to be here. You know, it's all his mercy and his grace while we're here, and he got this platform, man. So look here, man. Let's enjoy. Let's take advantage of every second, because we both know tomorrow is not promised. And if I go out before I come back on the show, I want to know I had a blast on my last episode. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. Well, we definitely want to invite everyone, especially if you're watching on X or if you're watching on Facebook. If you want to hit that link to hop over to the YouTube version of the show, you can definitely leave your comments. You can definitely participate in the show. We definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts. So, of course, NFL kicks off. We have 11 more Sundays until the NFL season. So we got a long way to go, and we got a lot of shows to fill between now and then. We're probably about 5 weeks away from training camp. I know training camp begins for the Titans, I believe, on July 23rd, probably right around that time for the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, and everyone else, all within a day of one another. So tonight, what we wanted to do is break down the quarterbacks in the division. Obviously, those are the cogs that make these teams go, in addition, obviously, to the head coaches and GMs, but it's the quarterbacks that are really going to drive the show. And Floyd, I think I want to start with the guy who won the division last year, CJ Stroud, 63.9% completion percentage as a rookie, over 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He did begin and end the season the same way, with losses to the Baltimore Ravens in his opener and in the playoff game in Baltimore. What was your overall take on CJ Stroud from beginning to end as you look at what he did in the middle between the bookend games against the Ravens?
I think his first 2 games of the season, he was learning and feeling the game and the speed of the game. He didn't have bad games, but he didn't have great games. And I think around game 3 or 4 is when he started feeling the system and what he got. And Bob Solich settled down, because he was, his first couple games, man, it was terrible play calling. Protection was bad. The kid was getting hit early. I'm looking at them stats he put up. Tremendous stats for a rookie. Wouldn't you say, for a rookie of the year?
Absolutely.
That's exactly what that looked like. Rookie of the year stats. And mind you, 3 of those interceptions of those 5 was in one game. So he protected the ball well, man. But let's give coaching their part. They coached him well. He fell up under a good coaching staff. And again, in football, coaching means everything, bro. You and I both know that means everything in football, man. So again, he is and should be the leader of the pack in the AFC South. Offense has gotten better, has put more weapons around him. We'll see how that offensive line work out for the Texans. I think, again, sometimes play calling and the receivers and the quarterback can make offensive line much better than it seems. I think we ran into that when we caught Baltimore the second time. I think that scheme-wise and how the Texans moved the ball and how the Texans offense was that it was to get the ball out the way, move him around a little bit, establish a running game, and take our shots. And that's kind of what happened. But Baltimore kind of caught up with us. Man. We didn't have nobody to blow the top off, and Baltimore wasn't going to let us chink and dunk down the field. Now, granted, it was a good game all the way into the third quarter. Did we not go into halftime tied in that game, 10-10? Am I right, host?
I'm not sure, bro. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but they were 10-10 at halftime. So, looking here at what you're putting up here right now, what is this you're putting up?
That's his stats from NFL Reference from the season. So that's his game by game breakdown.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that. Is it a little too small?
It's a little bit too small for me. In the Baltimore game, he was 28 for 44. There you go. He was 28 for 44 for 242 yards, no touchdown, no interception. And he completed 63% of his passes, but it only mounted up to 242 yards. As you can see, again, the second game of the season, he was 30 of 47, 63% percentage. He was 384 yards, 2 touchdowns, and with a 103 passing rating. Now, here's when you start seeing him catch. He's catching fire now. He's catching fire. When he got around to that third, fourth game, he kind of knew what he was doing. Kind of felt the offense. Of course, we had a slide when it came to Carolina and Atlanta, teams that we definitely should have won those games again, but that's neither there or that. But I like what they have done with CJ. I hope the coaching staff continue to improve and not stay packed. But again, he's the front runner in the AFC South. Now, what I like to do is hear you and what your interpretation of C.J. Stroud in the upcoming season?
Well, obviously he did an excellent job last year. He controlled the game. He controlled the offense. He always looked in control. He never looked out of control throughout the season. You mentioned the Arizona game in week 11, where he had the 3 interceptions in that ball game. He also got sacked 3 times in that game. But you guys, I believe he led you on a game-winning drive to come back and win that ball game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that showed that he could overcome adversity during a tough game, have a tough game, make a lot of mistakes, but then still have the poise, the character, the confidence to come back and lead the team to victory in that ball game. So obviously from beginning to end, week 15 and 16, I believe he got hurt in the Jets game right before the Tennessee game. So he missed the next 2 games, and then he came back for the last 2 games of the season against Tennessee and against Indianapolis. And, of course, you guys won both of those games to get into the playoffs. So I think all in all, no one can deny that he did an excellent job throughout the season. The question now becomes, where does he fit in the hierarchy of quarterbacks in the NFL? Obviously, you would have to put him number 1 in the division because of where he is right now in his performance when you compare him to the other 3 guys. The question now going into 2024, with the schedule getting a little more difficult, a lot more difficult. You go from a last place schedule to a first place schedule. So it's going to be a lot more difficult this year. And how much do opposing defenses now have a book on him and know how they want to attack it? So I think first and foremost, a major challenge is going to be on the hands of Bobby Slovic, the offensive coordinator. As you mentioned, when we talk about teams in all sports, you have to improve. You cannot stand pat. We saw the Texans, they definitely improved their roster through free agency, through the draft. But what are they going to do schematically to improve the offense to make sure that it looks different than it did last year? And that's where my question comes in, is what can they do schematically to make it look different and still get the same results?
Again, he's from the Shanahan, the Kyle Shanahan tree, and the Mike and on and on. I'm kind of like what they used to say about Barry Bonds. Yeah, if he juiced up, okay, but he still got to hit the ball. Mm-hmm. He still had to hit the ball. Can't get juiced. Juicing don't have your eye and hand contact and all that in place for you to deliver and to be that to have the power. So I'm saying some team is going to have excellent game plan against another team. It's all about a motto to motto. Can you beat your man off the line of scrimmage? Can you get open? Yeah, it's sort of like when it's 3rd and 1. Everybody know you're running the ball, right? Pretty much. Everybody know it's helmet to helmet. Let's see which way it goes. So I'm not really over concerned with the schematic part of the offense that Bobby Soler has, because again, he has added to that offense, which should make it even better. My thing is the protection. It's going to always be about the protection, because I really believe that we had, one of the worst offensive line in football last year. I really believe that. And I believe the scheme and things hid them. CJ did a great job getting rid of the ball, not taking a whole lot of unnecessary sacks. He took a lot of sacks that I didn't agree with last year, a lot. But he didn't throw the ball away. He didn't give the ball back. He didn't give the ball back to the team a whole lot of time, and that's the great part of it. So now, with the additional pieces, again, You're right when you say scheming, but my scheming is more not about the offense getting open, but more about protecting the quarterback, because I think we got skilled players around him now that can, we can find a mismatch. If we just make sure he stays stand up straight. We need him up straight, man. I don't need him on his back, man.
Right.
And as we seen near the end of last season, he started moving around a little bit, started running a little bit, started running for some first down. And I'm okay with that. It's just like picking your spots, but you can't design draw plays for CJ Stroud. You can't do that. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that,
Right.
So I'm with you on that, bro. I'm with you on that. Again, if we rating the quarterbacks, he is the number one rated quarterback in the AFC, and that's in my eyes. I'm quite sure there's other people who doesn't see that. But right now, I'm asking you, where do you rank him? Since he was our first quarterback we talked about, where do you rank him in the AFC South?
He's definitely number one right now when you compare him to the competition. The question is, undoubtedly, number one. Like, college football, whoever's going into the season, number one, Texas, Georgia, whoever, they number one. Question is, at the end of the season, will he still be the number one quarterback in the division? I think he will, but I think the gap will shrink. Right now, there's a gap. There's about a Grand Canyon gap between, say, him and Trevor Lawrence, who many would say is possibly number two.
Right.
I think that gap will shrink by the end of the 2024 season. I'm not sure Trevor Lawrence will still be in that number two position. We'll get to him in just a moment. But I think with the combination of a tougher schedule and I'm a firm believer, and this is across the board, particularly with quarterbacks and point guards in the NBA. Quarterbacks and point guards. You have to be somewhat above the fray when it comes to talking too much and doing too much. And I think this offseason, CJ was doing a little too much talking. I think he's doing a little too much. That's just me. I'm consistent with this. It's not just CJ. I'll say this for any quarterback. When you start talking too much and you start putting a target on your back, you already have one target on your back because you're the quarterback of a team that's predicted to be one of the top contenders in the AFC. But when you start talking too much and you give teams bulletin board material, and you're going to see that in week one when you go to Indianapolis to play the Colts, and that linebacking crew who's been a little pissed off at CJ for a lot of chirping he's been doing this offseason. I think when you quarterback, man, you just want to keep your head down. You want to do your due diligence in the offseason, and you want to go about your business, and you don't want to create any headlines. You don't want to create any drama. He had the little thing at the charity game when he left with the Amber Rose chick. I don't know if that was something. I don't really care. I don't really get into dude's personal life. But is it something? Is it nothing? Is it, just little things like that, man? That's the only thing that gives me cause to pause, where you don't want to say 2 years down the road, man, I saw that coming 2 years ago in that 2024 offseason when he was chirping a lot. That's my only concern.
Okay, but the chirking, tell me how the chirking can affect his career or his performance. Tell me I just want to know how that's going to affect his performance. Or even later on down in his career. Come on, man. The great ones talk. They talk. I don't think he was a Chad Johnson or a Antonio Brown as far as the chirking and the attention. Of course, we don't believe that. But I just think it's just common talk. It's just talk. He's gonna stand up for what he believes in, and I'm okay with that. Hey, man, look here. As far as again, we've been down this road before. As far as taking a hit, anytime he's under the center, he's at risk for taking a hit. And it won't be because they got a bounty out on him or because he was talking noise in the media. That hit gonna come from poor blocking. That's where that hit gonna come from. Not his teammates not doing their job, or him perhaps not doing his job. I don't think, because it's heaven on heaven. It's you know, you got 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, man. You know, it's kind of hard to just we're gonna put a hit out on him unless you're gonna do a dirty hit, illegal contact, all that other stuff.
I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that. So it's gonna be very hard to just zero in that this is my focus to put this iron on him, put this helmet on him. If that presents itself, of course they're gonna lay it on him. They're gonna lay it on him. So again, I'm not concerned about the chirking as if he's putting a bullseye on himself. But what I will say is this here, that if he get the shit knocked out of him, it's because it's somebody did not block. If somebody got a shot in on their quarterback. You know? I mean, we have a lot of players. A lot of time we hear the talking from what they call them, the D was the wide receiver. They do a lot of talking. The D backs, they do a lot of talking. Mm-hmm. You know, we understand that, we see that, you know, but it does not neglect they play on the field, because if he's open, the ball is coming there. He still got to do his job. It doesn't matter how much chirping he does. If he route him up and he's done that. He's done that. I understand where you're coming from, the modest approach, you know, the Tom Brady approach. Good guy, good hit guy. Oh, I understand all that, man. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of like old school in sports, man. I don't want friends. My competition is not my friend at the moment. He's not my friend. I'm with this, how they done the NBA. Everybody want to be friends and stuff, all that stuff. And the old timers against it. I'm with the old timers on that too. But hey man, the Colts are in the AFC South, so we're gonna see them twice. So this is listen. The AFC South, man. Just watch this here, man. They're getting better, man. They're gonna take that jacket off of us. I'm gonna speak on both of us for this right here. You know, they've been labeling us the AFC South for a long time, Ken. For a long time, didn't matter who was winning the division. Nobody respected our division. Let's put the NFL on notice about the AFC South. For once, let's gather the troops together and let's be a strong division. Let's make the rest of the league respect the AFC South. It don't matter who come up out of it. It don't matter who come up out, because I've been looking at this far too long. Oh, it's the weakest division in football. It's the weakest division in football. But then what about the NFC South?
Oh, yeah. Well, the NFC South, you know, they got their own issues. They got their own problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is the weakest division now. I think
I really believe it is.
South. Yeah, I think that is the weakest division. I think this division has really elevated itself. And, you know, the thing about the division is that iron sharpens iron. Right? Iron sharpens iron. And it really seems like there hasn't been a standard bearer in the division. Like every time you think there's going to be a standard bearer, like the Titans had that 2 to 3 year run, right? Which really it should have been about a 5 to 6 year run. If they would have used their draft picks correctly, they could have kept going and kept being strong at the top of the division and challenging for a Super Bowl. But they started making bad decisions in the front office. AJ Brown, wide receivers, offensive linemen, bad draft picks, and that brought them back to the pack. Well, the Jaguars stepped up for a year. Got a young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, had a good supporting cast around it. But then they started making bad decisions, bad draft picks, missing on picks. The Colts have been inconsistent for a decade. They haven't won a division since Andrew Luck left. They haven't got the quarterback position right. They haven't got the head coach position right. Houston, up until last year, They've been a disaster for the last 5 or 6 years ever since Deshaun Watson left. So it's like every time you think a team is going to get to that next level, they're going to be the New England, they're going to be the Kansas City, they're going to be the San Francisco. They self-destruct more than anything. It's not other teams doing it to them. It's Deshaun Watson, self-destruction. The Titans with their draft picks and not re-signing A.J. Brown, self-destruction. The Jaguars, bad pick after bad pick after bad pick, self-destruction. The Colts can't get the quarterback right, can't get the head coach right, self-destruction. So all of that, I think, has led to the inconsistencies within each organization. Now every team has a young quarterback. Every team hopefully has a good head coach that can give them some stability where they can compete year in and year out with the Kansas Cities of the world, the Buffaloes of the world in the AFC, the Cincinnatis of the world in the AFC.
I mean, okay, Buffalo and Kansas City, but Cincinnati, I mean, they had one run. They went to the Super Bowl. They haven't made the playoffs since. You know, they had a one.
Well, just last year was the only year they missed the playoffs and the quarterback was hurt.
It was the second year they missed the playoff. Last year was the second year they missed the playoff.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they made the
playoffs. With Burrow's entire existence in Cincinnati, he's been hurt, and they have 1 year, good year, one.
Well, now they lost in the AFC Championship game, or the AFC divisional game to Kansas City. The year after they went to the Super Bowl. Right. They only missed the playoffs last year.
They didn't. I don't know how you looked at that little run they had, but it didn't make me become fearful of them. Like, whoa, they got it. This is the team here. Now they got the quarterback right and the wide receiver right. Of course, they got that right. Yeah, but it's still Baltimore in that division. That's neither here nor there. And we'll get to that later on the line. But if we're gonna put the ball on the Texans and run into the Jaguars, then I got a little something to say about the Jaguars, because I don't think we can put them in the group that you just did with the Texans and the Titans and the coach for a split second, even with Phillip Rivers they still make the playoffs. You know, I can't put Jacksonville in there. They haven't had that. That was one season, and everybody in the world know it wasn't them winning that game. It was more of the Chargers giving that game back to them. I'm quite sure you probably will agree with me on that. So they have never that was their run. And then they got Kansas City in the second round and played Kansas City pretty tough in the second round. End up losing. That was it.
Well, let's talk about the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. These are his numbers from last year: 65.5% completion percentage, pretty good. Over 4,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's had 60 turnovers combined, interceptions and fumbles in his 3 years in Jacksonville, the most in the NFL during that time span. And when you think about Trevor Lawrence and the money that he just got, I understand that they had to pay him, and they wanted to pay him now rather than pay him later, because they believe, in their eyes, Jaguar fans will tell you, well, he was fine during that 16-game stretch when I believe they went like 13-3, and then he started getting some injuries, hurt his knee, hurt his shoulder, got a concussion, and then his play started to fall off towards the end of the year, and I believe they lost like their last 4 games to blow the division to you guys. So I'm not a believer in Trevor Lawrence. He still has to show me more. He has to show me that he can be a consistent winning quarterback when the game is on the line, when the game is not on the line. And he has to have that consistency of a number one quarterback that's expected to be a top 5 quarterback in the league who's getting paid like a top 5. Hell, he's getting paid like the number 1 quarterback in the league because he's making more money than anybody else except Joe Burrow. So he's going to have to show it to me, but I do not have the confidence in Trevor Lawrence or the Jacksonville Jaguars to make any noise in 2024.
Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, to me, they all in that category where they are NFL quarterbacks, and just timing on when how the market is. So the money thing ain't that they had to give him the money. You can't hit the reset button on him. I think he is a talent. I think that they're asking too much. Now you can ask too much of a guy, of a player. I think they're asking too much of him based on his potential and his size. What he is, 6'6", something like that, 6'5", 6'6". So I think they're doing it, and I think the same way, and we'll get to the AFC West long line with Justin Herbert. I think it's the same way. I think they're asking for too much, asking a lot out of him. Herbert a little bit different. He did have far more weapons than Trevor Lawrence have here in Jacksonville. I think they got a lot. I think they got with Christian Kirkland, I think they got speedsters, but they're more slot guys than you can put them out on the edges, man. I think they're more slot guys. So I think Kirk will have a pretty good season. And myself, I think he will, barring no injuries or anything. But I just think he got the money. It was his time to get the money. But I don't think the team. I think, like I say, this is, to me, Doug Peterson is out of there. I really do. I know we was a little ballistic a little earlier in the year, and I was saying they want to win 2 games, but they're going to finish probably with the worst record in this division, man. So the 14 interceptions kind of tell you where I'm at and how and my perception of Trevor Lawrence at the moment, man. The 14 interceptions, man. Hey, man. How much of that is on him? Because I didn't see a whole lot of the Jazz game, probably only when they was over in London and when they played the Texans. So I didn't see a lot of their games. I did see 4 of them, and I saw a guy that sometimes he's gonna press the issue. He's gonna press the issue. So I think he is the second best quarterback in the division right now. Right now I do believe that. But I just don't believe in the team that they're taking out on the field. I don't know, how you feel about him, but I'm so eager to hear what you have to say about the guy out of Clemson, man.
Well, I mean, like I just said, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in him. I don't think he has that it factor. He has not shown that it factor. Now that he's got his money, maybe he's more relaxed now. Maybe he can just go out and play the game. He has to protect himself. Obviously, he got banged up as well. I'm not sure about the supporting cast. Travis Etienne, I like as a tailback. They obviously lost Calvin Ridley. They got the Ingram kid at tight end, who's a very good tight end, very explosive tight end. They signed, Gabe Davis, I believe, from Buffalo. I don't know about that signing. They still got Christian Kirk, who's overpaid in my opinion. So I'm not sure that they have the structure offensively for him to be his best. I don't know if we will ever see the Trevor Lawrence that we saw at Clemson. I'm not sure we're ever going to see that guy. Maybe we will. He's still young. I think he's 24, 25 years old. So he's still young. He has a long way to go. But I think the next year or 2 are going to be critical because that's going to dictate if Doug Peterson remains the head coach. Because if Trevor Lawrence continues to struggle, well, the guy that's going to go is Doug Peterson, and he's going to have to start over with another quarterback, another offensive staff. So I think this is a very, very critical year in the progression of Trevor Lawrence, probably more so than any quarterback in the division at this point, based on his age and where he is in his career.
I mean, just if you want to play to match the money, yeah, this is a crucial year for him. But again, you know, I've been on Doug Peterson since the end of the season. I said he's not that guy. You know, he's not that guy. And granted, he hasn't been surrounded again with the best supporting cast. But I like his running back, and I like the tight end. But I also like the pick that they got from LSU. I like Brian Thomas. I looked up on him, saw him a little bit on YouTube. He's explosive. He's explosive. He could have easily been the number one guy on that LSU team with Nate was on that team. So I like that pickup. I was hoping the Texans figure out a way to grab that boy because I knew he was going to be hanging around in the later part of the first round. I knew that, but unfortunately, we moved out of the first round, and therefore Jacksonville took it. But I think we both feel the same way about Trevor Lawrence. I think he is an NFL quarterback. He paid him ahead of time. Probably was a great idea versus waiting a year from two when they're not going to be that good, and you want to give him the money, and when your team don't even have a shot at even winning the division, as long as making the playoff. So I'm interested right now to see the next young man that's on the list, Mr. Richardson. You know, I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about Anthony Richardson, dog,
bro. I actually had him. We're gonna discuss him last.
No. Put Tennessee last. We need a top. We need them.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm with Anthony Richardson. So my comp for him would be Marcus Mariota. And I'll tell you why.
I know you keep saying that. I don't know why.
The reason why I say that is because size-wise, he's a Cam Newton, and he's bulked up to like 255 pounds from all reports for the Colts. But the reason why I compare him to Marcus Mariota is because he's a dual-threat quarterback like Marcus. Marcus was probably a better runner than he was a passer. I think Anthony Richardson right now is a better runner than he is a passer. And both guys were injury prone. Marcus started off as injury prone, and he stayed injury prone throughout his career because of the style of football that he played. And Marcus Mariota took a lot of unnecessary risk in the pocket and running the football and got himself hurt because he was trying to overcompensate for his inconsistencies as a passer. So he was inconsistent as a passer, but he tried to make that up by being more dynamic as a runner. Instead of taking 10 yards and getting out of bounds and 10 yards and sliding down, he's trying to turn a 10-yard run into a 25-yard run. I think the same thing with Anthony Richardson is what he's shown. It's been a small sample size, only 4 games. And he tried to run over, I think, Harold Landry or somebody with the Tennessee Titans, and they cracked his shoulder, and he was done for the year. So, and he had a couple of injuries prior to that. I think he was hurt probably in every game. He suffered
he went out
sort of injury.
He went out when we had to coach the second game of the season. He went out the second game of the season with a concussion against us in the second game of the season.
Right.
And then I think against y'all, I think it was y'all that he I think he played y'all the next week or the second week after the Texans, and that happened to him. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Hey man, it's really up in the air with me with Anthony Richardson. I'm rooting for him. You know why I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. But what made me lean and say, hey man, he can be the second best quarterback this season for sure in this division, and that's because I like his head coach. The deal with Anthony Richardson moving forward is, can he be coached? Can he be coached into not taking that unnecessary hit, when to get out of bounds, when to say, okay, I got another play. You know, that would fear me with him, because I see Cam, and not just because of his size, but Cam was reckless. Cam was reckless. And this is what I see in this young man right now. The way he run, he's reckless. You know.
And he's not Cam Newton. Cam Newton's bigger than this kid, and Cam Newton can run over people.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson showed now you might not be able to run over people like you did in Florida, bro.
It kind of reminds me of a old quarterback that we once shared together, and Steve McNair. Steve will run over you. Steve was reckless. But here's one thing that none of them guys that we named, they didn't have the heart that Steve McNair had. Steve going out there with his hand bent, neck turned. He going.
Bruce Sternum, everything.
Hey, he going.
Everything.
He's going out there. I love him, man. He's one of these all-time great here to me, regardless of where their destination may have ended them up there. But he's all-time great here with me. These are what these guys kind of remind me of. But Steve was way tougher. Tougher than Cam, too. He was tough. Steve McNair was tough, bro. He was tough. So even mentioning Cam Newton in there, to me, is not fair to Steve, because I think Steve was better than Cam. And learn how to be a pocket quarterback. He learned that.
Yeah, that's it. It's ironic. Their careers are similar. Both big, strong quarterbacks. Both won MVPs in the league. Both got their teams to Super Bowls. Both lost in those Super Bowls. Steve, he obviously hasn't sniffed the Hall of Fame, which I think is a grave injustice, that he's not even, like a finalist for the Hall of Fame. I think he may have a chance once they get to the certain point where he becomes a possible senior member of the Hall of Fame. I think that'll be his best opportunity to get in at that point.
Robert Bazile and Drew Pearson.
Cam Newton, it'll be interesting to see if he gets any Hall of Fame consideration once, he's been retired for the 5 years. It'll be interesting to see what type of consideration he gets for the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure that he has Hall of Fame numbers. He probably won't get in. Donovan McNabb, another one that got to a lot of championship games, got to the Super Bowl, lost, never really got major Hall of Fame consideration. So, but anyway, we kind of went left there on the topic. But getting back to Anthony Richardson, this season for him, it's almost going to be like his rookie season again, because he only got to play 4 games last year. So he really didn't get any experience. He was hurt pretty much in all of those games. So I think for the Colts, I think they have a pretty good roster. But I think with Richardson really being kind of starting over his rookie year, he's still going to have those growing pains. You hope he doesn't have the physical pains. If you're a Colts fan, you hope it's just growing pains. But I think with him not getting that experience last year, I think it's going to be another up and down season for the Colts, where they're somewhere in that 7, 8, 9 win category.
I give them 7, 8 wins, maybe a 9 win team. But you're going to see that the coaching staff will probably be magnificent, nearly close to perfect, with working with this kid as the quarterback, and then working around the pieces that they have around. And they re-signed Pigman, and I think they drafted the boy out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Mitchell.
So
Mitchell. which really pissed me off.
Yeah. So they added. I mean, they added weapons for him, and they kept one that was there. I really think the beginning and the end of the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not even concerned about them scoring. I think they'll be one of the top scoring teams in the NFL. I really do. But I am concerned about their defense. And even though it had its moments, but it had its moment when they looked pretty good, they also blew some games as well. Because they had Garner Minshew last year playing like he was MVP considerate, because great coaching, the great coach that they have in Indianapolis, man. So again, I can see easily Anthony Richardson even perhaps becoming the best quarterback in the conference. He has that potential. That guy, he has it. He has it. Of all the quarterbacks that's in this, he has the potential to be the guy in this division, to me. But again, it remains to be seen. I always want to see brothers, succeed. Even if we have to knock him down a couple of times, as he learned how to succeed. I'm okay with being a great teacher. Texas will teach his ass how to win a little bit, because we've done that last season. We are the AFC defending champs, and we'll go on from there. But I think we both feel the same way about Anthony Richardson.
All right, cool. So Richardson, you look at his numbers, 59% completion. That has to get better. 577 yards. You like the 3 touchdowns to only 1 interception. You like that ratio, but you want to see that completion percentage up in those mid-60s. Trevor Lawrence was 65.5%. I think CJ was around 63% when we looked at his number, 63.9, so right at 64% for CJ. So you definitely want those guys in those mid-60s. That's where you want to have them. All right, so now we move to the Titans portion of the show, and we take a look at Will Levis, quarterback for the Titans, going into his second year. Again, 58.4% completion percentage. You got to get that number up. One of the reasons I think that number is where it was, obviously the Titans had probably one of the worst, if not the worst, wide receiving core in the NFL last year. They had a bottom, if not the worst, the second worst offensive line in the NFL last year. And he still completed 58% of his passes, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Again, you like the touchdown to interception ratio because you're not putting the ball in harm's way. Now, one thing I think that's going to help with his completion percentage is that now he has an array of receivers, and he has 2 guys coming out of the backfield that can be threats in catching the ball in C.J. Spears and Tony Pollard. Now, I've been on the record. I am not a Tony Pollard fan, but he is a good receiver out of the backfield, and I think he'll help Will Levis in that way. And then when you add a Tyler Boyd, you add a Calvin Ridley to a wide receiving core that already has DeAndre Hopkins, I think having those guys will help increase your completion percentage. On top of that, you now have an offensive-minded coach. You got rid of Mike Vrabel. You got rid of Tim Kelly. Thank God. Thank Jesus Christ that Tim Kelly is out of the facility. So I think the combination of all of those things will help Will Levis progress. We'll take a look at his numbers for last year. His game-by-game numbers. Again, he started week 8. And let me know if that's big enough, bro. If you can.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So obviously he came out the first game against Atlanta.
Go up a little bit so I can see the final 3 or 4 games. A little bit more. Go up a little bit more. A little bit more, baby boy.
That's it.
There we go. Come on down.
That's
Come on down a little bit. Down a little bit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Right there. There we go. We got it.
Yeah, that's it.
So
hold on a second. So he had
Yeah.
the four touchdown game against Atlanta. Did a little bit of a slump the next couple of weeks against Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. Only scored 16 points against Pittsburgh. That was a very winnable game. I think that was either a Thursday night or a Monday night game. I remember that being a primetime game. The loss to Tampa was a complete disaster. That was ugly. You see the sack column, 4 sacks against Pittsburgh, 4 against Tampa. Had a nice game against Jacksonville from a statistical category, but that game was such a blowout, 34-14, that it really didn't matter. The best game for him outside of the Atlanta game was week 14 against Miami. That was a primetime game where he went 23 of 38, helped the Titans come back. I think the Titans were down 3 touchdowns in that game.
And came back and won that game.
It came back and won that ball game.
Cost me money too, boy.
Cost me money too, bro. I think we talked about that.
Ooh,
I think we talked about
man.
that. I could not believe that he won that game. But they went on the road and beat Miami 28-27 in that ball game. And then, of course, against Houston, they lose that game. No touchdown passes in that game. 72% completion percentage. Not a good game at all. I think he got hurt in that game. Then he missed the next week against Seattle. And then only played sparingly in the last game against Houston. Did not play in the final game against Jacksonville. So overall, my thoughts on that, played fairly well considering what he had to work with, which I don't think was a lot. I would expect all of these numbers on average to improve in 2024. The one thing that the main thing is the offensive line. You have a very young offensive line. You're going to have a rookie left tackle. You're going to have a second-year left guard. You got a center that's coming in free agency. We don't know anything about what you're going to have on the right side of the offensive line, as those guys are going to be in position battles throughout training camp. So if he can get protection, I think these numbers will increase.
Well, young quarterbacks coming into the NFL won't be as lucky, so to speak, as CJ Stroud, with D'Amico Ryan being a defensive guy and just being lucky enough to have an offensive coaching staff that know what they were doing. So realistically speaking, I'm not going to put all of this on Levis. I'm not going to put it on him. He had Mike Vrabel as the head coach. And so Mike Vrabel feel about offense pretty much shit like Bill Belichick in his last days at New England, man. Didn't, I think they don't give the offense as much credit as they need to give them, or give them enough attention that they need to give them to be successful in this league, man. So I'm not going to hold all that against Levis. But this is what I will hold on Levis right now. And is that they have put something around him. They have put players around him who he can throw the ball to. I don't believe that we will see any great flashes of Will Levis until they're really, really mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And I see that coming real early. I see it coming real early because I don't see them being able to run the ball, man. I just don't see them able to run the ball. Again, we talking about on paper. We talking about on paper because the season's not anything. We already know that. But we just talking about for what we see right now on paper. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. If you can't run the ball, you ain't fooling the linebackers. You're not getting them stuck. Everybody dropping back in coverage on you, man. You got to be able to run the football, man. So that's why I thought one of the my big concern is when they let Henry walk out the door. Why would you let him walk out the door and you got basically a rookie quarterback, man? You know, why would you let him walk out the door? He's his best friend. So that was an error on their part there, but they weren't going to give the money that. I mean, when you look at it, Baltimore gave him what, 3 year, $28 million, 3 year, $21 million, something. It was only $7-8 million he gave. I mean, you couldn't bring him back on a 1 year deal.
He didn't want to come back. He didn't want to come back, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to come back.
Are you sure he didn't want to come back? Or they were trying to lowball?
Yeah. No, he wanted to go to. He got a chance to go to a team to win the Super Bowl, man.
I mean,
yeah, and he tired of running. He tired of running into 10 men in the box, you know, and behind an offensive line that's not ready. I mean, it's not an offensive line that's conducive to a running back like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's not going to get in the line and juke. You know, Derrick Henry needs a running lane to run through. And if there's no running lanes, then, you know, you're just running into a brick wall. So, no, I have no problems with that. Now, of course, everyone would have loved to see Derrick Henry stay. But I think everyone to a fan understands that, hey, man, you got a chance to go win a Super Bowl, even though it's with one of our arch rivals. Go and get yourself a chance to win a Super Bowl if you can.
I mean, yeah, if you're looking at it like that, but again, if he wanted out, then you know he got what he wanted, and on paper looking like he kind of landed in a spot where he do have a chance to compete. But again, you know, Will left again. You got a new head coach. He's an offensive guy. He come from the Zach. What's the guy? The Bengals head coach, Zach Taylor. He come from that tree, which come from McVay. So this guy, Callahan, he is an offensive guy. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to calling plays. He's been around talent. And again, I like your strength may be your wide receiver core, maybe what was your weakest link on the team, may probably be your stronger link on the team this upcoming season. But again, I don't think we will see the flashes from Will until later on in the season as this coaching staff everything figure out what they got, and then expect the fact we're not having a running game. You know, so if you don't have a running game, man, you know, it's going to be hard. I don't care how many receivers you got out there. You can only hold them up for so long, you know. So, again, it goes to me, if they can establish a running game and take a little slack up off of him, he may have a chance. But just me looking at it right now, how it is, I don't think we will see him any flashes or moments that he can be a starting quarterback until later on in the season. And by that time, they'll be mathematically out of the playoffs, man.
Well, when we look at the quarterbacks that have been drafted in the second round, okay, since 2010, and their success rates, and we'll kind of go through them one by one. Okay. Since 2010. So the first one was Jimmy Clausen. Obviously, he was terrible. I don't think he lasted in the league.
Notre Dame guy. He had a shot. He was at Carolina, and then the Bears even gave him a shot as a starting quarterback. So yeah, he didn't pan out. Career backup. Yeah.
So 2011, you got two guys that hit in the second round: Andy Dalton and Colin Kaepernick. Both of those players got their teams. I think Andy Dalton got to the playoffs like 6 or 7 times with Cincinnati. Yeah. Obviously, we know Colin got to the Super Bowl, got to a couple of NFC championship games with San Francisco. So both of those guys were hits in 2011. You go to 2012, it was Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler had one of the most roller coaster careers of anybody, but the Texans gave him a golden parachute of $72 million. What can you say? But overall, he had an up and down career at best. 2013, Geno Smith looked like he was going to be a bust with the Jets. Didn't work out. He had to leave there, go to Seattle, resurrected his career, and now he's, top 15, 16 quarterback, somewhere around the middle of the pack. So I think all in all, you can say, Geno Smith's kind of in the middle. He didn't work out for the team that drafted him. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna let you take over for a second. Let me check on something real quick.
Okay. I mean, going back to Kaepernick and Dalton. And Dalton come out of TCU. He's a Texas guy, and he had a very solid career. I think he took the Bengals to the playoffs. I think 5 out of 6 years, if I'm mistaken, maybe 6 years in a row. But he was losing in the first round every time. As 2 of those defeats came at the hands of the Houston Texans. Kaepernick is a whole different story under the guise of Jim Harbaugh. And he had a veteran quarterback on that team as well as Alex Smith, and he learned how to play the quarterback position the way Jim Harbaugh played the quarterback position. He moved around a little bit, and he was able to throw the ball when needed. So guys coming out the second round, if I'm not mistaken, I think Boomer Esiason came out the second round as well. I have to look that up and to see. But Will Levis, again, it was a reason why he dropped to the second round to begin with, because a lot of scouts said he was a little erratic, a little too much Brett Favre in him. I didn't see him play a lot at Kentucky, but I did see him play a few games at Kentucky. I liked him. You know, I like the fact that he can move around out the pocket. He can create a play. He can jump off script. Sometimes you have players who can't work within the system. They're great at jumping off script. That's when you see their creativity, their greatness when they're off script. That's why you kind of see a lot of teams when they first come out that huddle, man, they got 10, 12, 13 plays stripped. They're going to run these plays no matter what, you know. So I think that Will Levis may be one of those guys who play better unstripped than he does within, checking down and reading it and progressing all the way through. Again, he got a shot because he do have a receiving core now, and he has an offensive-minded head coach. So, he do have an opportunity, but I don't see this being the year. I think in the latter part of the year, I think he'll show that he can be a starter in the NFL. By that time, it'll be a little too late for them, the Titans as a whole. But he got a chance to show the league that he can throw the football. He can win some games, man, and that's the most important thing, man. You got to win some games, man. You got to win some games to stay on the field. And that sport that we talking about now, called football.
All right, so looking at the other second-round quarterbacks, I apologize. I had to hop off, take care of something for a second.
It's okay.
2014, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl. Derek Carr had that one good year, and he got hurt.
Week 15.
Got hurt late in the season. Didn't play in the playoff game against the Texans. And that was kind of the highlight of his career. Right now, he obviously is in New Orleans, and he's struggling there. 2016, Christian Hackenberg out of Penn State. He never worked out. 2017, Deshaun Kaiser. He never worked out. I
liked him, though, Ken. I liked him at Notre Dame. Deshaun Kaiser, I liked him at Notre Dame, man. I really did. I thought he had a shot because he was on Green Bay squad, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked him, though. I thought I actually thought that he had a shot.
Yeah, he had a shot, but yeah, he couldn't get it together. Drew Lock in 2019, still kind of a backup quarterback. 2020, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has exceeded all expectations coming out of Oklahoma and Alabama. Got the Eagles to a Super Bowl, nearly won an MVP. I think he was second in MVP voting that year in 2022. Could have very easily won the Super Bowl. So if you're looking for a second round pick that you want your quarterback Will Levis to emulate, Jalen Hurts would be the guy.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think Jalen Hurts has reached his peak?
No, I don't. Here's the problem with Jalen Hurts. Not the problem with Jalen Hurts. The problem for Jalen Hurts. He's had a different offensive coordinator almost every year of his collegiate and professional life. Alabama to Oklahoma to Philadelphia. Every year at Philadelphia, he's had a different offensive coordinator. So he hasn't had that stability. And him and Steichen, who's now the coach of Indianapolis, they had a great chemistry, a great symmetry. And now he lost that last year, and the Eagles end up firing the offensive coordinator that they hired last year. So now they have a new offensive coordinator. So again, it's consistent learning a different language. And you're learning a different language every single year. And I think that's what's hurting Jalen Hurts at this point. If Kellen Moore can work out and Kellen Moore can remain that offensive coordinator, hell, for at least 2 or 3 years to get him some stability, I think that'll really help Jalen get back to that MVP form. But he has to have some stability in that quarterback room.
Before I give my take on the question that I asked you about Jalen Hurts, has he reached his peak? I want to ask you, what is your take on Kellen Moore?
I don't really have a take on Kellen Moore because I think with the Chargers last year, they had an idiot as a head coach. So it didn't matter what Kellen Moore did as an offensive coordinator. It wasn't going to work because you have to prepare in such an unconventional way because of what your head coach you wanted to do, going for it on 4th down all the time. You had to prepare your offense in a very unconventional way. So you're not preparing for a 3-down offense. You're preparing as a 4-down offense. So I thought that was very unconventional. With Dallas, with Dak Prescott's had a good career. I think Kellen Moore is solid. I don't think he's great, but, it remains to be seen. So he's a good coach. I don't know if he's a great coach. I mean, I don't really have a strong feeling either way on Kellen Moore.
Okay. Here's why I'm going to say that, Jalen.
But we don't want to stray too far off into Jalen them because we want to bring it back to Will.
Yeah. But we're talking the second round picks,
right?
So and he was the one who kind of became a star, and but I think he reached his peak though. I think he's reached his peak, and I don't think Kellen Moore is going to really take him to anything more than what I've already seen. I really don't. It's the reason why they got him out of Dallas. Dak Prescott had his best season under Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator. He liked to toss the ball around. I don't think that Jalen Hurts need to be throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. That's just.
Well, I don't think any quarterback needs to be throwing the ball 35. I don't think Patrick Mahomes needs to be throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game.
I don't believe that. But again, you're hoping that Levis hit by coming out the second round. That's costing you very much at all. It would be great if he could hit with you guys because then y'all can actually spend some money someplace else. You won't have to pay him right now.
Well, that's what they're doing. That's what they did this offseason by bringing all those guys in on the defensive, L'Jarius Sneed and Aduzier and Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard. So they're spending their money. You hope that the money is being spent wisely on guys that are going to produce, once their bank account, gets on swole, so to speak.
I think Levis is probably, other than one, the great Malik Willis. But the other guys, I would bet more on Levis than I would them. And that was, in the past, y'all drafted Jake Locker and Marcus Mariota and kind of missed on those guys. I would bet heavily more on Will Levis than either one of those guys I named, including Marcus Mariota. So I think you got a shot, but again, I think when you're going to really see his best, it will probably be in meaningless football games, But again, you roll the dice. It ain't costing you much. Second round pick. Yeah. You draft your nut next year. And the worst quarterback draft that's coming up, the 2025 college draft, worst quarterback draft coming up. So, yeah, it's not going to be good. They're coming in. No, it's not going to be good. It's not. No.
Okay. I haven't looked at it closely to see who the top quarterbacks are. I know Quinn Ewers and
Shedeur Sanders. Those are your leading guys. And
those are your top guys going in. Somebody will always pop. Somebody will always pop that you can go to. So I'm not going to write off the quarterback class like that, and win June.
Again, they're going to have to go to the field just, looking at what I've been watching, in this idle time I've had. It's not predicted to be a great draft of quarterbacks. Just passing the word on to you, brother. That's all.
All right. So those are our thoughts on the AFC South quarterbacks. You guys can leave your comments in the chat if you have any thoughts on those. And of course, we'll continue to do previews throughout the rest of the summer as we try to fill this void between now and training camp. But there have been a lot of other good sports actions. I was surprisingly in front of my television set most of the day today. I thought I was going to have to try and find something to entertain myself. But, there was a very good college baseball game. Texas A&M lost to Tennessee, so that sets up a winner-take-all tomorrow night for the national championship in college baseball. Tomorrow night, we will also have Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. I don't watch hockey at all, but I may watch a little bit tomorrow night between Florida and Edmonton. Edmonton was down 3-0 in that series. They've come all the way back to force a Game 7. And hockey is really the only sport where we've seen teams come from 3-0 down to come all the way back and win a series. So Edmonton will try to pull that off tomorrow night. And then, of course, the big game today in women's, the WNBA, was another matchup, third matchup of the season between Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever and Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. It was an absolutely great ball game this afternoon. I know you slept through it, my brother. You got some much needed rest. But Chicago overcame a 15-point second half deficit at home to come back and knock off Indiana 88-87. This was a very important game as far as the standings go in the WNBA. For those that don't know, it's only a 12-team league. 8 teams make the playoffs. Right now, Indiana and Chicago, along with Atlanta, are battling for those final 1 or 2 playoff spots. Still got a long way to go in the season. But if Indiana had won today, because they won the first 2 games this year against Chicago, they would have won the season series and had the tiebreaker. Now that Chicago wins today, Indiana's still up 2-1. But right now, Chicago is in that 8th slot, Indiana right behind them in the number 9 slot. And I want to bring up the numbers for Angel Reese this afternoon, as she had the best game of her young career. 25 points, 16 rebounds for Angel Reese this afternoon. And when I tell you that she played like a lady possessed today, she was not going to let her team lose to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever once again. She put on a heck of a show. I think she had 10 points in the fourth quarter alone. And she really was the energy, was the spark that got this team this victory this afternoon. So congratulations to Angel. Caitlin had a nice game as well. And just your thoughts. I know you didn't see the game, but I'm sure you saw some of the highlights. Your thoughts on Chicago and Angel Reese just overall
Um,
and this rivalry?
When I seen the score, I didn't go in depth until after I talked to you on the phone. Then I went and looked at some highlights of it. I think every professional sport is they have that moment where that sport in particular takes a leap in ratings, sponsors, attendance, and all of that. Prior to the Marino Elway draft, and I call it. I think every sport has that draft class that take it to the next level. In basketball, it was clearly the 1996 draft that took the NBA to its next level because it was then, life after Jordan. Even though Jordan played a couple more seasons after that, life after Jordan. I think this draft class in the WNBA is that draft class. And heavily so because of these two young ladies, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark had a hell of a game today herself. She had 17 points, 13 assists, career high for her. She also had 6 rebounds and 4 steals. She shot a good percentage. She was 5-11 from the field, 5 of 9 from three-point line. So she had an all-around great game. Boston, the center, she had a great game as well, 18.7 rebounds, 6 assists. So it was a tremendous, tremendous game. And I want to take a moment to say this. And I want to say this, and I'm going to go full screen for a moment, Floyd, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm going to send this message to all of the NBA players that think that you're top 10 players. And specifically, I'm talking to guys like Joel Embiid, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. But one thing I don't respect is every year when Philadelphia goes to play Denver, you don't play. You don't play. And this today is what superstars do in their sport. They show up and play against the best competition, and they don't care if it's a playoff game or an NBA Finals game. They go out and play. And these two young ladies, in addition to everybody on that court today, played like it was a playoff game, played like it was a WNBA championship game. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Cardoza, Boston, those were the 4 stars. And those 4 stars showed up today and they played their ass off for an audience, for a sold-out crowd in Chicago, for a television audience that's probably going to have a big rating. And for those NBA stars, I hope you were watching today because that's what we want from you guys. We don't care if it's a Tuesday night or a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon. When you're going up the bet against the best, show up and play. Show up and play. Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, who did show up and play a lot this year. But show up and play. That's what we want to see from our superstars in the NBA. Show up and play.
Hey, man, I like that. I like what you said, man. I like what you said. You said it with passion. I love it because you're damn right. You're damn right. Them ladies left everything on the court. They ain't give a damn about load management or my next contract next year and all this. My back hurt. You're right. You're right. They showed up, and not only showed up, they showed out. They showed out. So I'm with you all the way on that. I felt the same way about the NBA. I think star players miss too many games. So I think they kind of try to put a cap on that when they kind of change the rules. You got to play a certain amount of games to get these bonuses and these teams and things. So they band-aided it. They band-aided it. That's what they did because they haven't resolved it yet, really. And it's going to catch up somewhere down the line. Now, right now, it's just pacifying. It's just a Band-Aid on it. But I'm with you on that. Shout out to them young ladies. Shout out to the Chicago Skies and Indiana Fever for putting on a spectacular show, man. Putting on a show, man. And more importantly, you are gaining eyes now. You have attention of the world. Ladies, let the game begin.
And a message to the WNBA and to the media. It's more than Caitlin Clark, guys. It's more than Caitlin Clark. Is CNN going to lead the show tomorrow or tonight talking about Angel Reese having a career day? Because last week when she hit Caitlin Clark upside the head, they were talking about it on CNN.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about today on CNN.
Yeah.
Is First Take going to lead the show tomorrow with the WNBA? There was no drama today. There were no hard fouls today. There was no there was a little back and forth with Angel and one of the players for Indiana, but I mean, just normal basketball trash talk. But are you going to lead the show tomorrow and talk about how great both of these players were? Or are you going to talk about the actual game instead of the theatrics around the game? Or are you going to talk about anything other than the race baiting that's been going on, trying to pit these two ladies against each other, that social media has tried to divide and make it to a culture war or make it to a race war or make it into a race debate? Are you going to do those things tomorrow, FS1, ESPN? Are we going to do that? Can we do it? Can we talk about the game that was played today? Because it was a hell of a game. And that's what I want to hear about.
Shout out to you. I'm with you. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to start off early with Get Up. We're going to start off early with Get Up. Let's see if Greenie and all them guys. Listen, Monica McNutt put them all in their place. And I know I keep going back to her saying it, but hey, man, I was so proud of what she did, man. I was so proud of what she did because she brought it to her life. So now guys like you and myself and everybody, we're speaking on that. Let's give these girls their flowers for them being professional basketball players and putting the damn ball in the basket. Not for a foul, not because of the color of her skin. Now, I'm with you on that all the way. And it's interesting to see how each one of these sports channels begin their segments. I want to really, it's interesting to see that because like you say, there's nothing else going on right now. So they should open up with this. What else is going on? The Yankees finally snapped a losing streak and won and beat Atlanta. You know, I mean, what else is going on? You know, Astros have won 3 in a row. I mean, what else is going on? It's nothing else that the mega media markets
right
can talk about other than this girl going for 25 and 16 and a great win, you know, to pull out the win because I think they're not 8 and 6. I think they were 7 and 6 or 6 and 6 or something like that. So again, you said they squeezed into the 8th spot. So hey man, it's interesting, man. And it got everyone watching. So let's give these girls their flowers like you speaking on, big bro. Let's start out by their performances and not worrying about who made the Olympic team and who didn't make the Olympic team. Why this one should be and why this one should be. Let's talk about the game that was played today and that the highlights that I saw of the game made me say, man, I could have caught a little sleep a little late. I missed out on a whammy, man. I missed out on a whammy, man. I missed out on a whammy.
You got to catch the replay, man. They probably have it on NBA TV, ESPN.
It's probably on right now. Probably on.
Probably on. All right, the other big news in basketball world this week, the Lakers have finally officially hired J.J. Redick name him as their head coach. I don't know when I assume the press conference may be Monday or Tuesday of this week, where they introduce him to the media and allow questions to be asked of Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss as to why J.J. Redick was the guy. We already know what the real answers are, but I'm really just interested. I really wish I had a media pass on a flight to go to L.A. because I would just love to ask the question, why J.J. Redick over everybody else? Every other assistant coach. There's 29 other teams. Each team probably has 10 assistant coaches, probably 2 lead assistant coaches. So there's a pool of probably 50 to 60 other candidates. What separated J.J. Redick from everybody else, from guys like Sam Cassell, who has 4 championship rings now, 2 as a player, or 3 as a player, 1 as a coach? Why? I would just love to answer the question, why? And then when they give me a bullshit answer, I would love to follow it up and say, why again? That's what I want to know. Why?
The Los Angeles Lakers in the danger zone today. They're in the danger zone.
You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.
And here's why, my brother. I don't agree with Paul Pierce very often. I don't. But I saw a podcast he was on, and he made this statement. And man, I totally agree with him. This is not, the Lakers are not about winning right now. It actually seemed like like this is stripped. Like this, I got listen, Ken. I got some friends, real close friends that think games and stuff that happens in professional sports are rigged or fixed. I got friends that really think that. And I argue with them all the time about that. But this seems so stripped. It really did. It really, I hardly ever agree with anything Paul Pierce says. But I'm with him on this. This seems so stripped. And you know who the writer, the producer, you know who they are? You know who the writer and producer is?
Yeah.
His name is LeBron James. That's his name. They lowballed the coach from Indiana. They knew he wasn't going to take that money, man.
You mean from Connecticut?
From Connecticut. I'm sorry, from Connecticut. They lowballed him. He wasn't going to take that money, man. He wasn't going to take that low ball, man. But because LeBron has put this narrative out there that he has nothing to do with the coaching and all this stuff right here, all this manifested. Because if you really wanted Hurley, you'd overpay to get him. If you want something, you pay for it, don't you, Ken?
That's right.
You want something, you pay for it. See, you didn't want him. You wanted him, but LeBron didn't want him. This is scripted now. I'm officially saying this right now. It's rigged. The Lakers will sign LeBron James' son to a free agent contract because he's not going to get drafted. I doubt it if they draft him. They can't
get drafted. They will. They will.
They can't draft him.
They will.
It's too much of a circus. You can't draft him. If he goes undrafted, yeah. But for you to draft him, LeBron James, you have to stand in front of the media and the podium, and you got to explain them lies that you told us.
It don't matter. He's getting drafted.
Now, this just me, and you heavily strong on that the Lakers going to be the one to draft him. You're strong on that. I don't believe that they're going to draft him. I don't. I don't believe he's going to go drafted. I don't.
We can put a dollar on it.
Okay. I
We
think
put a dollar on it.
I think I got 4 quarters in on my dresser.
We put a dollar on it. Somebody's going to draft him. It may not be the Lakers. Somebody may draft him before the Lakers, but the Lakers will absolutely draft him in the second round.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't think so. But
go ahead.
Hopefully we'll get that opportunity to see that. We'll get that opportunity. It's so scripted though, man. And with the roster that they currently have, with not a lot of them, with LeBron opting out, so you know he wants his. LeBron don't take pay cuts. He done already made that perfectly clear many, many years ago. Am I right? He don't take pay cuts. He don't take pay cuts. He don't give discounts. So now you're going to have to pay him. The roster is not built to win, man. The roster, the way it is now, is a play-in team. I'm so serious, man. It's a
play-in team last year.
Yeah, play-in team.
Yeah.
They're playing team.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll see what they do in free agency. We'll see what they do in the draft. See what they do in free agency. Maybe they can improve. You know, they have some draft picks that they can trade if they decide to do that, and maybe get another player, another rotational piece that can help them. But as currently constructed, yes, right now they are a play-in team. Now, I told you 6 weeks ago that JJ Redick was going to be the guy. Well, this is not a surprise to me at all.
I mean, not really. It really ain't. It really not. It's really not. It's really not. I mean, did it come to life? Yes, it did. But again, it don't surprise me either. But it also again want me. I want to share this danger zone not only with the Lakers but the NBA as well, because the NBA need to come up with some type of, I can't call it the Rooney Rule. Maybe it's the Bill Russell Rule or something. Where you interview a minority candidate, man. You have to, man. You have to, because how much longer can the public eye keep seeing guys that don't look like us get opportunities that never had a liquor coach, and you and I could go out there and draw a game plan up, you know, just the same as they can. Now, some of them may have been former players, and I'm speaking on Steve Nash and now JJ Redick. But you got to develop some type of rule. We can't keep doing this cycle right here, Ken. This cycle right now that the NBA is doing is so disrespectful.
Well, remember, to be fair, Jason Kidd, same thing. He got the job in Milwaukee right after he retired from the NBA. We got to be fair. We got to be balanced.
No, he got the job in New Jersey after he retired from the NBA, and then he went to Milwaukee.
Okay, but still,
Yeah.
He got the job with no experience.
Wait a minute.
He went to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He went to Milwaukee first.
Did he go to Milwaukee first?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Jason Kidd is one of them too. But hell, Jason Kidd don't look like us, do he?
Stupid. But you know, it'll be interesting to see what the least stupid boy. It'll be interesting to see what the Lakers do in the draft, man. It's gonna be interesting to see where Bronny goes. He may go to Phoenix. He may go, and look, I'm just saying this. I'm not 100% convinced that LeBron's going back to LA. I'm not 100% convinced.
You're not?
No. I'm not saying I think there's more chance than not that he's going to LA. But he could have already agreed to his contract extension, and he hasn't. Why hasn't he?
Did you not listen to what I just told you? He don't take discounts.
I didn't say a discount. I said he could have already agreed to his contract extension with the Lakers for 3 years, $150 million, that's the max.
That
he could have already agreed to that, and he has not. Why hasn't he?
I mean, he can't opt in and not even go on free agent market. He you know, it's an option. He can opt in.
Why hasn't he is my question.
That's a good one. That's a good one. It would tell me why you don't. It's obvious you think there's a slight chance that he won't be in LA next year.
I think there's a slight. I think there is a 10 to 15% chance.
I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that much.
That's you. That's your opinion.
Yeah,
my opinion is that there's a 10 to 15% chance, which still means there's 85 to 90% that he's in LA.
Yeah.
But there's a 10 to 15% chance that he leaves for either Cleveland, New York, or Philadelphia. I think there's a 5% chance for each one of those cities. 5% Cleveland, 5% New York, 5% Philadelphia. I think the other 85% is Los Angeles. But there is a reason why he has not agreed to his extension. We saw Malik Monk agree to his extension. We saw Pascal Siakam agree to his extension. Why hasn't LeBron James agreed to his extension yet?
I mean, it's always a chance, any given Sunday. So you right on that, bro. But I tell you this, and I got $1 on this right now. He won't go back to Cleveland. I don't care what the situation is. He won't go back to Cleveland. His mission in Cleveland, it's over with. That's in the rearview mirror. Now the Knicks is something different, though. The Knicks is something different. I just don't. I don't see Philly. What I mean, I don't see Philly like fitting LeBron. New York, yeah, and of course you could say Cleveland because of the history there. I'm saying Cleveland. That's why he won't do that because the history's still bad there. It's still bad. He won. I mean, he ain't lived out his contract. Remember, LeBron never opts out his contract early, has to be out or nothing. He lives his contracts out. He does that. Now the Knicks, if you want to put that 5 or 10% chance, I think that's the only team. I really, man, if that was the answer. But again, the behind the scenes, we haven't been hearing anything negative about the Knicks only in the last 2 years. We haven't. Nolan was a dude nobody likes, man. Come on, man. Look at that dude did it to Oakland, man. Oakland had a legend that scored out the garden, man. Come on, man. He had a legend that scored out the garden. He had Charles Oakley scored it out the garden, man. So that was the reason why KD and Kyrie didn't go there. That's where their destination was originally to go to was New York. But with the owner being the way he were and everything, that kind of got that off the table. But New York would be, free agent wise, and you can go and get rid of Julius Randle, and you can go with it. I can see him in New York though, Ken. I can see that. I like that move there. Mm-hmm. I like that move there. You came up with something very, very good tonight, brother. Shout out to my host, y'all, Ken, for doing his research and his theories, and he came up with something that your boy like, y'all. He came with something that I like Braun to New York, and maybe you ain't got to give up nothing, but maybe a sign and trade. Don't even have to be a sign and trade. You can flat out sign him, but you're gonna have to move Julius Randle eventually because you cap Jalen Brunson getting about 25-30 million a year, and then the boy you got from Toronto, he's on the roster. He's your point. He's your power forward. I think it would be a great deal. I do. But LeBron ain't going nowhere, bro. LeBron ain't.
Probably not, but it's possible. It's possible.
Ain't going.
All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Real quick. Astros, they sweep the Baltimore Orioles, one of the best teams in baseball. They sweep the Orioles this weekend. I think they're within 6 games of first place now, 2 games under 500. Still got a lot of injuries in the pitching rotation, so they're holding that thing together with barbed wire in a empty tin can as far as the pitching staff goes. But Alex Bregman, I think he went 4 for 4 today. I think he's hit like 18 of his last 19 games. He has at least 1 hit, so he's been hotter than fish grease. The last time we spoke, we was talking about him getting up out of here. So shout out to Alex Bregman, man. He's really turned his season around. The problem with Bregman, and I love Bregman as a person, it should not take you 50 games to find your swing, man. It should not take that long.
But Ken, he been like that the last couple of seasons.
I know, man. He goes through these like long stretches, man.
Yeah, and remember, I told you, I said the only problem that I have with the Astros and Bergman getting hot now is
Bregman.
Bregman is that if we drank the Kool-Aid, if we drank the Kool-Aid,
right?
Is this him? Is this the player that we really want to? We almost at the All-Star break, and we was on the brink of trading this dude, of sending him down. You had to do something with him. Are we gonna drink our own Kool-Aid and give him this money, and it turned out to be a bad contract?
Yeah,
and that's what worries me about him now. Again, like you say, with 6 games out of first place, 2 games under 500. I think we're 5.5 games. I think out of the last wild card spot, something like that. We're not very far from that. We still got a lot of more baseball to go, man. I mean, me personally, I'm a Houston fan guy. I always root to win, man. But sometimes winning hurts. Give you the wrong impression on how a team may really be. Can I call the New York Giants, football Giants, 2 years ago? Went into the playoff, made the playoff, went 10, they upset Minnesota, all that. They fooled us. They drunk their own Kool-Aid.
Right.
Right. And that's what I don't want to happen with Bergman right now. I don't think that he's that type of guy. Now, if you're going to give him a discount deal, then that's something else. But I don't think that he deserves that right now. I would give him top market value, man, based on the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's taking him 50 to 60 games just to get hot. And he struggled to get his batting average. I think he finished last season batting 272 or something like that. Wasn't very high. But he spent most of the season trying to get it up to that respectable number, man. This team is looking older. You can kind of tell by how the runs are coming, the inconsistency. This Astro team been like this the last 3 years, man. We get on streaks, man. We line to win 18 out of 20. And then we'll come back and we line to lose 5 out of 7. This is how this team been the last 2 or 3 years. Still managing to get to the World Series and to the AL Championship Series, playing this type of way, playing dusty ball.
Right.
So this is what I'm seeing now. We have been seeing it, but what we was doing was we were finding a way to win those 1-run games that we've been losing this season. We would find a way to win those 1-run games, those 2-1 games, or 3-1. We were finding ways to win those games.
Yeah, and we can't win those games like that anymore.
Can't win them like that this season.
Yeah, you got to outscore. You got to outscore teams because you don't have the type of bullpen that can hold a lead. Hell, they had a 14-3 lead on Saturday. They end up winning 14-11.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, they finna mess around and lose this game. So shout out to the Stros, man. On at least putting a couple of wins together and getting a big win this series. Real quick before we go, we definitely want to give a shout out and our thoughts and prayers to the family of Willie Mays, who passed away this week at the age of 93. They honored him at the Negro League game between the Cardinals and the Giants. It this past Thursday in Birmingham, Alabama. So a big tribute to him. And we just want to give our thoughts and prayers and our acknowledgement out to the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays. Man, we lost some legends so far this year, man. Jerry West, Bill Walton, O.J. Simpson, Larry Allen of the Dallas Cowboys, and now the great, what many say is the greatest all-around baseball player in the history of the sport.
I hate that we're not getting Willie Mays and Major League Baseball enough attention tonight. Maybe we can pick it up on our next episode. Matter of fact, we're going to pick this up on our next episode. Willie Mays died at 93 years old. He's a legend. But in the next segment, we'll get more into Major League Baseball, the history of it, the Negro League, and the fact that so many of us has lost favor with Major League Baseball, you know. So we can speak a shout out to his family. Sorry for their losses, man. And Barry Bonds, that was his godfather, man. Shout out to him, man. And a guy that kind of paved the way for us as little kids. We got out there and started playing baseball. Baseball was the first game I started playing, Ken. I don't know about you.
Oh, that's all of us. That's all of us.
Yeah, baseball was the first game I started playing, man. So, again, we can get really in-depth in that in Major League Baseball. And then the former stars, stars that look like us that we can name from the 60s and 70s and the 80s that when we was watching, baseball, man. Dave Winfield and Andre Dawson.
Yeah,
that's on the next episode, though. And again, we're gonna give you your just due, Willie. We're gonna catch you next week, though, baby.
No doubt. Well, definitely, everybody, want to thank you guys for watching tonight. We appreciate you guys joining in for another edition of the Danger Zone. For my host, Floyd B., I am Ken Moore. And hey, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share the show out. We may have a special one-on-one show midweek. I'm still working on that. So hit that notification bell so you know who it is and when it is. We're still working on it, but we hope to have a big guest for you either Wednesday or Thursday night. I'll keep you posted on that. That's it for tonight. My brother, love you, man. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next Sunday.
See you when I see you.